the CIA confirmed Gary's story. I mean, now they didn't say, well, this particular agent or this particular president or this vice president or this general okayed it, but they said that we as a whole knew that these guys were selling drugs.
And how it worked was to buy the weapons from the U.S. clandestinely. They let them ship the drugs in and then have you and others sell them.
Right. Well, what they needed, you know, Congress had outlawed them giving money to the Contras. So what they needed is they needed a source where this money was coming from, where Congress couldn't tell that the money was being given or was being raised. So what better way to do it than to raise it on the black market?
Absolutely. And we go back to Iran-Contra and all of that. Of course, it all later came out in Congress, not just in the 80s, but in the 90s. And more of it's come out today. And then we see China trying to ship in 25,000 tons, enough to kill 10 billion plus people with a lethal dose. And this is just the way governments fight wars. And so we need to talk about the fact that the black community was particularly a dumping site for the cocaine to raise the money. Think about Big Pharma. They sell drugs that are worse than cocaine, as bad as heroin, and they're pushing it in schools, they're pushing it everywhere. Something like 30% of women are antidepressants. Those drugs say on the insert, they eat holes in your brain. They make your heart swell. They lower your IQ. They can cause you to become a mass murderer. And it says on the insert, and then almost every one of these crazy mass shooters is on it.
Well, those drugs dealers should be responsible. They could be held responsible for those shootings. I mean, technically, if they go with the conspiracy theory, because with the conspiracy theory, if I hand you the gun and you go out and do a shooting, I'm responsible. So if I'm prescribing drugs, if I'm paying doctors, because that's what they do, you know, they pay doctors to subscribe drugs to people. The more drugs you subscribe people to, the bigger your bonus is going to be. When I first started selling cocaine, I knew absolutely nothing about cocaine. I didn't know what it looked like. I didn't know what it smelled like. I didn't know the color. I was a novice. You know?
That's a good rule. You didn't get high on your own supply.
No, I didn't. Well, they taught me that, though. You know, I was taught by the people.
Don't take it. Don't
take it. If you don't take it, you're going to be rich. So I didn't take it. And that's one of the other things that I learned about drugs, too, as well. Most people who get involved with drugs don't get involved with drugs to become addicts. Most of the people who get involved with drugs get in it for the money. But they believe that they're stronger, that their willpower is stronger than the drug. You understand what I'm saying?
Oh, I understand.
That they can take it.
They play with fire.
Exactly.
InfoWars. The most banned network in the world.
The real Rick Ross is here. There was a big fat jail guard who basically stole his identity and then said he was the kingpin. But Rick Ross is a really nice guy. He can tell you how he got into it. Oh, soon you didn't know why he was the biggest coke dealer in the United States, because the CIA was delivering it to him. But it's good to see you again. It's been about a year or two since you've been in here. Yeah. What are we going to hit on when we come back? Because, you know, we never script any of this.
Well, you know, we some of the stuff that I'm doing now. You know, we're just going to, you know, it's been about 2-3 years since we last interviewed.
A lot's happening. And for those that don't know, though, we'll recap your story as well.
Yeah, we can do that. We can recap.
What was it like watching Kill the Messenger? Because, you know, I'd interviewed you some, and I knew Gary pretty good. We were to build a website together. He'd been on the show a lot. And then all of a sudden, he was executed. And he was really excited before he died. He had this big book coming out. Guess the book never came out, though.
I spoke to him about a month or two before he got killed or died or whatever.
Got Epsteined?
Yeah, I don't know what happened. And, you know, I was also working at that time. You know, Kevin Booth, a friend of me and yours, me and him was doing a documentary called The Great White Hope. And he's the one that told me the first time that Gary had gotten killed and or that he was dead, committed suicide. I don't know which one.
Well, the police say 2 gunshots pretty normal. Shoot yourself twice in the head.
Yeah, that's what they had a doctor to say that.
If I ever get shot twice in the head, it wasn't me. If I get shot once in the head, it wasn't me.
Remember when you interviewed me in jail? That's what you asked me. You know, one of the first things you asked me, you were like, Rick, how do you feel? And I was like, what do you mean? And I was trying to figure out what you was getting at. And then you was like, you don't feel suicidal, do you? And I was like, hell no. I'm enjoying life. Even though I'm in prison, I still like life. And you was like, oh, I just wanted to check and make sure. You know, we don't want nothing to happen to you in there.
Hey, man,
you don't remember that.
They threaten to kill me all the time. We'll be right back with the real Rick Ross in studio.